scientific reports. So I want to share with you four new books by medical scientists who has discovered the solution for these killer diseases. And they have, based on their own research, they have come up with the same conclusion, or they have learned the truth in the Bible. And first book, Reversing Heart Disease by Dr. Dean Ornish. Dr. Ornish actually started doing the research when he was in the medical school as a medical student. Somehow he got an idea. He's not going to get bypass surgery. He's not going to take a lot of medicine. He wanted to find out by changing lifestyle whether the heart disease can be reversed. And he asked his professors in the medical school, help me out, give me some patients to test out my hypothesis to see if a lifestyle change can help reversing heart disease. Of course, his professor looked at him saying, Dean, you're not all together in your head. Nobody wanted to do this kind of study. As a young medical student, eventually going to be a medical doctor, why do you want to get into this kind of study? But he persists. Finally, he got some cardiologists who were willing actually to send him patients. I think his first study was very small, 20-some patients. And he changed their lifestyle. Of course, he found out if they would be willing to go through this kind of process. So he found about 20-some patients were willing to do so by just changing their diet, increasing their exercise. He did a very sophisticated type of study. Recall with the angiogram before they started the study and a year after they started the study. To his amazement, these people, the blockage in the artery actually dissolved, actually disappeared. Actually, he didn't even have to demonstrate that because the patient already felt better even 6 months into the program. When he published his work, all the NIH people, the people who will give funding for research, actually volunteers say, Dean Ornish, we're going to give you a grant to do more study. So he was able to conduct a larger scale of study. And again, results were remarkable. So he said, this message needs to get to the public. So he wrote a book, Reversing Heart Disease, using lifestyle changes. Prevent and reverse heart disease. Now, this book was published by a cardiologist, actually by a bypass surgeon, cardiovascular bypass surgeon, Dr. Esselstyn. Dr. Esselstyn was with the Cleveland Clinic. Oh, he did great number of bypass surgeries. He was so busy that so many people wanted him because he's a very skillful surgeon. But one thing he noticed, most of his patients need to come back for second bypass surgery. And some of them, even after the bypass surgery, still had lots of trouble. So 20 years ago, he and Dr. Ornish somehow got together. And he discovered Dr. Ornish's study. A young physician, just fresh out of medical school, report that heart disease can be he investigated into that matter. Oh, is that so? During the process, when he was looking into this method, the chief of surgeon in Cleveland Clinic, at the time of doing bypass surgery, had a myocardial infarction, had a heart attack. Fortunately, they were able to save his life. So Dr. Esselstyn asked this person if he will want to be the first subject in his study using diet to reverse the heart disease. Now, this chief surgeon obviously also had knowledge that bypass surgery is not that 100% safe or 100% effective. In fact, it's not very effective. He himself knew that. So he told Dr. Esselstyn that I really had no choice. Based on my understanding, my prognosis is not good. Whether I will get the bypass surgery or whether I will take the drugs or whatever, I'm not going to make out very well. So if you have a program, I will be willing to be your subject. And not only that, I'm going to see if I can find a few more patients who will want to join me, so we'll have fun together rather than just by myself. So Dr. Esselstyn ended up with 24 patients. Among them is the chief surgeon in Cleveland Clinic. And Dr. Esselstyn's program, I will say, is a very strict program. When I first discovered that program, I said it's going to be even hard for me to accept the program. No oil, no salt, no taste. But apparently, Dr. Esselstyn's wife, Mrs. Esselstyn, was a very good chef. And she was able to prepare the food in such a way at least it's not so distasteful. So 24 people actually, and live on that diet. And 6 months into the study, they felt better. A year later, and 18 months later, when they did the angiogram, they found those blockage were actually opened up already, and the clot was dissolved, and these people felt very good. Dr. Esselstyn dropped his practice of a bypass surgery, so he became a crusader to promote dietary change for preventing and reversing heart disease. And also he felt this message need to get to the public, so he wrote his book. Dr. Neil Barner is a young physician, at least when he graduated from medical school 20, 30 years ago, he was very young. And somehow got a crazy idea. We need to change our lifestyle in order to prevent diabetes. Not so much he got a crazy idea. He did a lot of research, did a lot of study, discovered that is the way to go. So he conducted a number of experiments and showing indeed diabetes can be reversed. We're talking about particularly type 2 diabetes. By this time, we already understand that people with type 2 diabetes actually did not have insulin problem. In other words, they did not lack of insulin. They have plenty insulin, but somehow their lifestyle is such a way that the insulin cannot do its job to deliver the glucose into the cells that needs the insulin. So the condition is known as insulin resistance. I'm sure you have heard of that. Insulin resistance is same as what earlier this morning I talked about metabolic syndrome. And one of the main reasons for metabolic syndrome is insulin resistance. Now I want to share with you the China study. This is a study probably most of you have heard of. The China study was a study carried out by Cornell University in the US, Oxford University in England, and Chinese Academy of Science and Chinese Academy of Preventive Medicine in China. So it's a research study, involves 4 different scientific organizations. You all probably heard of Dr. Campbell. I know some of you told me that you even went to listen to Dr. Campbell when he was in Los Angeles a few months ago. I would say this is one of the very comprehensive studies looking into the diet and killer diseases. And of course,